Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for choosing the School Edition. Today, I want us to explore a learning area called Creative Arts and Sports, specifically focusing on Grade 5 content. What am I covering in this area? I want us to look at a strand called Creating and Executing. Under it, we want to cover a sub-strand called Rhythm. Are you ready? Let's make it happen. First, we need to define rhythm. What is rhythm? Rhythm is the pattern of sounds and silences in music. Rhythm can be performed by clapping, tapping, or reciting the French rhythm names. In this presentation, we are going to learn about note values, the symbols, and the corresponding rests. Let's start with the music notes, their names, and the symbols. So how do we call these notes? This is a semi-breve. It's simply an oval. The second one is a minim, which is simply an oval with a stem added. The third one is called a crotchet, just the same as a minim, but now the oval is shaded. The last note is called a quaver, same as a crotchet, with an addition of a flag on the upper part of the stem. So these are the music notes we will be looking at. Let's mention their names together. Semi-breve, a minim, a crotchet, and lastly a quaver. Good. Now let's look at the values of these notes. Each of the music notes has a duration. The duration of the music note is called the value and is determined by the number of beats. Keep following. Let's start with the first note, which is a semi-breve. For a better understanding, let's use a circle. So the value of a semi-breve is a whole circle, which is one whole circle. The second note is a minim, which is half the previous note. That is to say that a minim is half a circle. So the value of a minim is a half note. The next note is called a crotchet, which is a quarter note, and that is equivalent to a quarter circle, which is sometimes written as 1/4. Have you discovered that our circle is getting smaller? Let's conclude with our last note, which is a quaver, which is an eighth note, written as 1/8. Are we together? Remember, we are looking at the value of all these notes in relation to a semibreve. Thank you for understanding. Let us now look at rests. First, we need to know what rests are. Rests are periods of silence in music. They can also be defined as symbols that show the length of silence in music. Each music note has a corresponding rest. Silence between notes in music has to be measured and written in music. Music rests have the same duration of silence as the value of their music notes. The rest can be represented using symbols. Let's now look at the notes and their responding rests. The first note is semi-breve, and this is how its rest looks. It looks like a small rectangle hanging under a line on the staff. It means you keep silent for 4 beats. Think of a whole rest, which is equal to a whole bar of silence. The second note is a minim. Its value is half a note. This is its corresponding rest. It looks like a small rectangle sitting on top of a line. It means be silent for 2 beats. What have you discovered about this rest and the other one? They're actually opposites. The third note is a crotchet, and this is how its rest looks. Can you describe it? It looks like a curly or a zigzag line. It means be silent for 1 beat, which means a quarter rest equals a quarter beat of silence. Good. Our last note is a